I'm gonna at least start with our icebreaker, and then I have an idea for an activity. We'll see where we get. So the icebreaker is, what's one thing you learned this summer? We're talking about school, going back to school. Fall, what did you learn this summer? Doesn't have to be like major. It could be, I learned how to find something on IMDb. I don't know.
I learned how to use a chainsaw.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I bought my own chainsaw. My husband has 3 of them, but he didn't want me to use any of them. So I just finally bought my own battery operated chainsaw. It's only like, I think the bar is like 12 inches, but I love it. I don't know. I should have bought one a long time ago. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what are you doing with your chainsaw, Pam?
Well, we have 15 acres. And so, you know, we're always in the process of, you know, cleaning something that fell or trimming branches or thinning or cutting firewood. So I've been doing all of those.
Awesome.
That is awesome. All right, who can match that?
I've learned how to pour cement.
What?
Nice.
What's going on here?
Awesome.
Why?
My husband had built a motorcycle shed, except that he used, for the ramp getting up to it, he used 1x planks. And every time he went up and down it, they would bow, and I was concerned about his motorcycle crashing.
Yeah.
So he went away for a week, and I decided I was tearing up his old ramp, and I built the form, and I hand mixed the cement and poured a cement ramp, which was a big mistake.
Oh no.
He comes home, says, "What did you do? That works out so well. Why don't you go ahead and..." So
All these
I
other
have a list, yay list of projects that didn't get done.
Blast.
That's great. Congratulations. All right, what other home or yard or forest learning did people do, or other kind of learning?
I'll go. I learned how to trick my web browser into thinking that it's a mobile phone, so I can use Instagram from my laptop for work. I don't want to put like a library, because I don't use it personally.
Yeah.
So if I want to use a library account, I'd have to put it on my personal phone, which I do not want to do. And so I figured out how to trick Chrome into thinking that it's a mobile device. And go.
How'd you do that?
There's like, you can press some buttons and then you can switch the view that you're in. I'd have to look up what the exact keystroke is again, but it's like function F12 or something like that. And it opens up some developer tools, and you can say that, oh, I'm actually using tablet mode of Chrome, and then you have access to all of Instagram.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was helpful.
Allison, did you learn to use TikTok?
I've learned to watch it too much. I have not made a TikTok, but I did learn that I like podcast. I know I'm way late to the party. I have not listened to a podcast prior to this summer, but I am now very into podcasts.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's great. Leslie or Nick M?
I've been doing, oh, sorry, Leslie, you were going to go. I've been doing some drone flying this summer. We received a couple of summer STEM grants through the Idaho Commission for Libraries, which is our state library. And they do a couple of mini grants each summer. And we received some racing drones, as well as more of like a camera drone. So the camera drone's easy enough. It came right out of the box. It was flying within minutes. It can do 4K video, super cool. We're doing like interior and exterior shots of all of our library buildings, which is really cool. The racing drones are more of a hobby DIY situation. And so apparently the remote controls that I bought to control the drones were not sending, they weren't speaking the same language. So then we had to buy new radio transmitter remote controls to control the drones, and those are sitting in a box over there, and I need to take them out and see if those ones actually work. So learning about radio frequencies and the languages that the microcontroller has on drones and all of that good stuff.
Really cool.
I feel like drones could be the perfect example of a socially distanced program.
It's a good point, actually. Yeah.
And you could do it if you had the space outside to do it, and you could really space out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. That could be really cool.
Yeah, that's really, I was thinking, Allison, you meant like people could do it from wherever they are and then take videos or, I don't know.
I mean, they could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh, interesting.
Hmm.
And Leslie, what about you?
Yeah. I haven't thought of anything very good at all.
You know,
Whatever, I just learned what a
What did I
podcast
learn?
was, Leslie.
What did you, had you have anything?
I thought of all these tiny things. Like, I finally figured out how to get our new printer to print on both sides of the page.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's really impressive.
I was like, why didn't you see this before? It's right there in front of you. And I did apply for a grant in a category I've never done before, which was art conservation, because we have 2 portraits in our library of people who donated the money to build this. And they're over 100 years old now, and they're just darkening up. And so I learned all this stuff about how conservation people clean portraits, and, you know, layers of varnish, and the man who painted these portraits. But we don't know if we got the money yet. But it was interesting.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Lady who will hopefully get paid to clean our portraits.
Fingers crossed. That is not, conservation stuff is not cheap.
No. These are, I don't know, they're like 30 inches by 42 inches or something.
Whoa.
And it's about $6,000.
Wow. That's, well, so when do you find out, Leslie?
I thought we'd know by now, and I've decided not to bug them because it doesn't do you any good to ask when they'll know. But soon, we'll learn soon.
Good luck. That's
Yeah.
Hi, Austin. I asked people for the icebreaker, what something they learned this summer.
Oh gosh. Let's see.
And it can be anything.
Yeah, no. Let me think. I just joined this summer, I joined for our ILS, I joined the reports committee. So learning about how to actually run reports of all kinds that I hadn't been able to do myself before. I had to sort of request someone do that for me if I was trying to get circulation stats or, patron bills or anything like that. And then everybody else has every, stuff that they've got to do. So requests we get backlogged and things like that. So being able to do that myself has been really nice.
That's really cool.
What else? Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely one thing.
We've had everything from drones to chainsaws to art restoration, all over the place, to tricking your computer to thinking you're mobile for Instagram. So it's great. That's great.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
With the browser. Okay, yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, no, it's been great. So thank you all for answering that question. So what I wanted to do, because it actually hit me earlier this month, that, I've been going along saying, we've got until the end of the year and let's just figure it all out. And it's September, sort of, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that there's just like a quarter of our time left together. So I really wanted to think about like where people are and where you want to be by the end of the year. I know it's been a challenge and I know things are still crazy. Austin, are your schools still open? Are they like they were open?
They are.
Yeah.
They are open. They went back fully the beginning of last week was the
and face to face, right? They're
Yes, yes. There's a virtual option, but it's an opt-in situation. So yeah, everyone else is in person. So I'm waiting for next week when it'll have been the 2-week mark. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So I really wanted to hone in on that and see what you need. So what I did was thought we'd have more people here, but since we don't, we're going to do this all together. I was going to have you go into breakout groups. So I created a Padlet, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you can all go to it, but I'll also do share screen. So here, let me, and I can't remember if we've done Padlet before. Have we with this group?
I don't remember it.
I think we've done it with past cohorts,
Okay.
but I don't know if we've done it this time.
Yeah, so you can go there and then I'll share my screen and we can all do this together. Where's Padlet? Here it is. So you're seeing the Padlet, but let me close this part of the Padlet and you can all go there and add to it. So the idea I was thinking was that we could like work together to figure out, like talk about first, what do you want to accomplish by the end of the year for Future Ready? And don't worry too much about like what we said you had to do, just like what do you want to accomplish or what have you accomplished? And then what you'll do to get there and what help Allison and Carol and I and all of us can give each other. So do you have, who wants to go? What do you want to accomplish by the end of the year for Future Ready? Or what do you think you have accomplished for Future Ready that you can keep going? Does that question make sense? And
yes.
You can add, so actually while I'm doing this, to add to the Padlet, while you can talk, but then you just click to on the plus and you can add what you're thinking. But let's talk about it and then we can add as well. What do you want to accomplish?
I don't have anything well formed at the moment. While I was thinking about it, there's a couple of different grants that I was able to receive, and they were largely focused around an outreach vehicle. And I'm thinking as we're heading into the fall with the school system is going on a color system. So if the school district says we're in green, it's business as usual. If it's yellow, it means that everyone wears masks, but we're still face to face. If we're orange, we're doing 2 days face to face, 3 days digital. And then if it's red, the schools are closed down. So we're opening with orange, which means that there's going to be half of the kids will go on Monday and Thursday. No, Monday and Wednesday. The other half go on Tuesday and Thursday. And then all the rest of the days are going to be virtual for those students. So I'm trying to figure out where an outreach vehicle, which is obviously based on place and us all being together at the same time, how does that intersect with those virtual days and digital days? Because students will most likely, even during virtual days, still be getting meal distribution and some of those pieces. And so I'm thinking, obviously it's probably going to be a grab and go situation, but those schools are still going to be they're still going to be interacting with those students on some form or fashion. So how does that outreach vehicle assist? How does it become another entity that is supporting those families that need internet connection, but also just that feeling of community of another entity being like, we're here for you, we appreciate you, we're going to be offering services right now. It's definitely mushy-gushy at the moment, but that's kind of what I've been thinking about at the moment. How do you meet the needs of those families that are going to be going through that virtual, digital, and face-to-face situation? Because we're obviously all doing this, we're all trying to figure this out together.
I just want to say, I don't know how the teachers keep that straight.
Right? Seriously though.
It's gotta be so, I mean, it's gotta be so complicated. And maybe that's one of the places, if you can contact, you know, someone to talk about the different levels and layers that are, gosh, I can't even imagine how confusing that must be. What day is today? Oh,
Exactly.
I won't see John until 6 more days.
Exactly. And then I'm also thinking, while I was taking my COVID test, the provider that came in was mentioning that so many of the colds and flus that would have been passed around in the spring are obviously delayed now until August or September, whenever people are starting to actually become face-to-face back together. And so as soon as these 2 face-to-face days happen, everyone's going to be back out sick again, thinking they have COVID when they might actually just have a head cold. So the kid was supposed to be face-to-face today, but they're sick, so they're not face-to-face, they're doing virtual. Like, the school district's trying to figure it out, obviously. They're in a very difficult world, as we all are. But I feel like it's only going to get more complicated once we actually see how this network, how this system is going to be implemented.
Nick, have you had a chance to talk with anyone in the school system, like to say, like, how can we support your work?
I have a good relationship with our youth services department here at the library, and they have several contacts at the teacher level, at the administrative level, and a couple of because we actually serve 3 different school districts in between our 7 libraries. And so with each one of those, they're responding slightly differently, but we've been chatting with them. We've been trying to say, like, well, what are they saying is going to happen in the fall? What are some of the question marks? What's going on? And we knew that it was going to be a hybrid, but we were being told it was a hybrid of like 4 days in the classroom, 1 day virtual, not 2 days face-to-face, 3 days virtual. So this is more digital time than we were thinking it was going to be. But we've been touching base with teachers, but now that I want to say that they made the announcements on Monday. So teachers, I think, are still being trained. They're still trying to figure out all of their questions. So I was planning on getting in touch with them next week or at the end of this week and saying, how do we help? What do we do? Do you have to get homework packets out to kids? Do you need more people with internet access? What's going to be the most helpful for those teachers, but also for those families?
I just sent a letter today. We have a smaller school district. But I just sent a letter to each of the teachers, composed 1 letter, and then put it in an envelope talking about what our hours are, our username and password, that we could be a distribution place for their lunches, online ebooks, audiobooks. And so that'll go to every teacher. I had 1 teacher already contact me about the students that are going to be home and what is digitally available on video and book. And so I did the whole list. I mean, I'm small, so I have the time to do this. You probably wouldn't be able to do this for every teacher, but I looked at, there's probably 10 different items. So what do we have as a physical item? Audio, video, what could they stream? What could they download as an ebook? So 1 teacher I've already helped, the high school teacher. So I'm hoping that, at least 1 or 2 more teachers reach out to me and ask for my help.
Just out of curiosity, Nick, is the plan that this is what the school year will look like? I know you were talking about different levels, but I'm just trying to, gauge if you were to provide a service that in, 1 or 2 weeks, they would all go back to in-person learning 100%.
So that is the unfortunate thing about this particular system. Instead of buckling down on 1 or 2, they said, well, this is the framework, but the color can change at a moment's notice. So it's based on the Panhandle Health District and the numbers of cases and how many people are hospitalized and how many people are not, and all of those pieces. So we're categorized as orange according to this framework right now. The thing, though, is that it could go from orange to yellow tomorrow morning. the school district has said, we're going to try to give you as much notice as we can. So hopefully they actually aren't going to make a color change, you know, on a daily basis. They're going to make a color change on a weekly basis, or on, I would even think like on a month basis or something like that. I really appreciate that your school district is having folks do like a 6-week chunk. You need to commit to doing this amount of 6 weeks. Because right now, while there's a framework, and once you know what framework you're in, you know what you're getting, the framework could potentially change at any moment. And they haven't actually stated their rules on how much time they're going to give you to switch from yellow to green, or if we go from back to yellow and then we're going back up to orange, how many days we're going to have to actually adjust to that. So it makes things difficult at this point for.
But okay, yeah, but regardless of the color, there are still families that have chosen 100% virtually and are not sending their children to school. So there's still that section of.
I believe so. The interesting is the school district at this time is saying 100% of our people are going to be under this color. So 100% of our people are going to be digital 3 days a week, and then on for 2, off for like, and then in the classroom for 2. Or our entire school district is going to be in yellow, which means we're face-to-face with masks. They're not actually offering an option of, if you only want to do digital, you can.
Okay.
Many of our people, we actually have, I'm assuming like many rural areas, we have a lot of homeschooling families. And so there's also the homeschooling public school alternative, which is, you know, we call it the K-12 program, which is still publicly funded, but it's education done at home. And a lot of families said, well, the school district's not actually telling us what we're doing, so we're just gonna double down on K-12 because we know what we're getting at that point, we're always gonna get distance learning. But that's still separate from the district. So it once again is just complicated, like many things right now. But knowing where we're starting this year is going to make it, we know that at some point during this unknown that we have is that there's going to be a mix of digital and in-person learning. Most likely, if we're existing in orange when we start, we're going to get to orange another time as well, most likely. So if we're in orange, what services can we offer? If we're in yellow, what services can we offer? And kind of base it on that framework of finding those knowns of these different pieces and seeing what do we offer in each one of these, what's going to be useful to teachers in each one of these frameworks.
So here's what's going through my head at the moment. I'm wondering about, like, and we've talked about this before, but I'm starting to think, in the world we live in, we're spending so much time trying to figure out the things you're trying to figure out, Nick, that I wonder, it's just taking us away from what we actually do, right? And all this time thinking about school and how we're interacting with school is taking us away from what we actually can maybe do.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm wondering if it needs to be flipped in some way. Like, instead of like, how do we help all these kids in their school? Yes, I know that's important and all that messes, but what actually do families, youth and families need? School or no school? Orange, green, yellow, red, purple, whatever. Sure. Like, is it possible for us to think that way? Because and I hadn't thought about this until just now in this way. But thinking about it with this project and just in general, all the conversations I've had with people recently is maybe we're trying too hard to fit into something that we don't need to. So what if we said, like, what do you want to accomplish by the end of the year that gives you the chance to have an impact with youth and families? You know, right? I don't know. People can tell me I'm crazy, I'm thinking about it wrong. But maybe we're making it too hard. Allison, what are you saying?
I think that the digital gap and the lack of access to internet and all of these articles and all of these things, and then it's important, just like you said, it's extremely important. We need to be finding those solutions for our community. But I feel that when people focus on that, they focus on school during the pandemic. So they're saying, oh, there's a
Interesting.
digital gap. We need to help them with school, because if we don't fix that, they're not going to be able to succeed in school.
So what if we were to take that away? What if we were to say, what do you want to accomplish with middle schoolers or with community by the end of the year? Doesn't have to be school related. Could be, I don't know. My brain has gone dead.
I think that's a much better question.
What? My brain
What do you hope to accomplish with middle school youth or youth and families in your community by the end of the year?
Right. With, here, I'm doing it right now. Accomplish with.
So in my community before COVID, I had been working with youth and partners to, enhance a park that's a library and near the youth organization and everything. And that kind of all went on hold. But in July or late July, we said, well, we had this plan to just move some picnic tables from one part of town to the park. And it was free, and all we had to do was get final permission to do it. And we had wanted the kids, and the kids wanted to come to go and ask permission, so they get civic engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't have the kids do that because of, it just wasn't gonna work. But we did, just via writing, ask our governing body, could we move the tables and why? And we explained the kids and all that. And they said, yes, you can do that. Even though we've had some graffiti problems, but not. So the tables got moved, and the kids are, doing some interacting at their youth organization and in the library. And they're like, oh, the tables, remember the tables? And we were gonna paint the tables. And people, we wanted to do it because everyone's using the parks more. And this is so simple. We're like, put some tables in this park when they can't be used in that park over there for other reasons. And so we're really, it feels good. And the tables won't get painted this summer, but the planning to do it in the future, and it's concrete and it's creating activity. So we still want to enhance the park because that's something the kids are really interested in. And it's not part of school. But it's nice to be able to have picnics more easily. And they're also moving the tables around to do some projects and stuff because all their youth activities in a very limited way are happening outside. So, depending on what they're doing, the kids just pick the tables up and bring them over here. It's great.
Well, that kind of makes me think, though, Leslie, is a somewhat similar thing that's going on in my community is a lot of organizations are lacking volunteers simply because people are not wanting to leave their home. They had an older volunteer base. And so they've really been pulling from younger people or other people that are stepping up and kind of filling. For instance, I've volunteered a couple days at our local food pantry because the food pantry is lacking volunteers. So I'm wondering if, you can't even take that service piece if, those youth and their families are comfortable with them doing things outside or engaging in different types of projects. But I have noticed over the past few months that many organizations are suffering. Even our local fair association is desperately seeking for barbecue judges for the cook-off because a lot of the judges don't even want to come out to judge the barbecue.
Yeah, I definitely think that sort of practical, and I have had families approach about, well, this virtual learning, for some kids, they get it done quickly and they have time on their hands. And so they're seeking enhanced volunteer opportunities. The kids are asking too. So, it's on my to-do list to have a better structured volunteer program for youth here at the library, and also helping and dialoguing with them about other places they could safely volunteer and in what manner. So.
And I'll just say for the enhancing the park, you know, I was thinking you could work towards next spring, summer, right? So you could, like the kids, you could have them draw like what they would like their park to look like, right? And then people from the Parks Department could talk about, you know, how that all works and how it all happens. But it could still happen without the actual physical aspect of being at the park. And I also think, thinking about the school thing, is that the other way to think about that is like, what are you doing? Like if you did that Enhance the Park thing with middle schoolers and they did all this virtual stuff with the Parks Department, et cetera, or even just like brought in drawings or something, that would connect to some STEM thing they're doing in school. It doesn't have to be, you know, like we're supporting the science class with these materials. It's like, here's the connected learning we're doing in real life as they're doing their school stuff. And there's a lot of opportunity there in your spare time again. What about other things people are thinking about what you want to accomplish with youth, middle school by the end, and / community by the end of the year? I know it's hard.
This is going to be kind of simplistic, I think. A very weird, there was a period of time, right, in like May or June, when it seemed like the state legislator for this next fiscal year was going to eliminate state funding for new materials. And so our friends at the library like basically emptied their bank account to increase our book budget to try and keep us afloat. But then the state legislator didn't actually end up doing that. So we now have more than double what we had last year to spend on books, which is going to, I mean, it's going to impact the young adult books that we have, the collection. And I mean, they can't be here to see all of these books, to see all, like, truly double what they would have had in a normal year. So I'm sorry, it's that it's simple, but the thing I want to accomplish is connecting them with the collection, when they can't even be here in, in the library.
So what would that be like? Like that's so.
Great question.
Or anyone else?
I don't know.
I've been thinking about every time that I have like a set of new books coming in, making like a quick YouTube video for each age group that's coming in. That's just like basic, not doing a full book talk for each book, but just highlighting like, hey, I know you can't see these yet because we're still closed here. Everything is still closed down where I'm at. So just like, hey, this is the cover, because everybody loves to judge the book by the cover, and
sure.
then a few words like this is a mystery, these are the main characters, and then just moving on quickly and just giving, because it's hard when you're not, even if you love books, you're not involved in what's being published unless you're really, really involved in
looking
books,
to be,
right?
yeah.
Just finding a way to highlight those new books and, like you said, getting them with that, connecting them is good.
I mean, I think we all have kind of spent the last 5 months trying to figure out how we're going to figure out ways to bridge the digital divide with people who don't have internet access. And I don't know about your kids, but our kids out here are just burned out on screen time. And the entire building is full of things that don't have screens here. So I just like to do something with that. I don't know. Are we open? We are, sorry, I just saw Allison put in the chat. We're not open. We're doing curbside checkout services. We are going to start allowing, next week, we're going to start allowing people to come in to start using the computers by appointment. But our administration has talked about allowing people in to start browsing the stacks like late October, we're thinking.
So Austin, you're trying not to do something that requires them to watch a video or stare at the, is that what I'm picking up? You're trying to think of something else besides that?
Yeah, my young adult stats have always been abysmal, and that's kind of an ongoing situation. But even not thinking about mitigating that, what we've been talking about internally here is just how everybody's burned out on screens. And even though schools are right now in person for us, I think it's extremely likely that in a month or so they'll all be back in virtual, and so we'll be back in the same situation. And I just want to stop worrying about the part that I can't solve. I'm applying for a grant to get 5 hotspots that people can check out, but that's going to solve it for 5 families and not anybody else. So I can't solve the fact that people don't have internet. I can't solve the fact that people, whatever. What I can do is give them something to do while they don't have internet. And I just want. That's I don't know how to phrase this in terms of like a goal or something to accomplish.
Yeah.
But
how many windows do you have in your library?
We have 5 street-facing ones, but we are very high up and kind of set back from the street. And it's the main street, it's the highway. But like if I were going to put something in the window for people to see it along the street, it would have to be like several feet tall.
Also, I'm also wondering, does your library have a reader's advisory form or an email or some amount where they can say, like, this is the last book that I read, this is my favorite kind of genre, and then staff will actually go and pick books for them and check them out and like give it to them? Because I know something that people love to browse the shelves, and obviously when you're closed, browsing the shelves is something you can't do. So what we didn't have as much of a gap between our library. Like I think we had like a 2 or 3 week period where we were doing the curbside checkouts. So, but one thing we were thinking about was beefing up our reader's advisory side of things. That way, we were hopefully able to like, oh, you know what? If you like young adult or if you like mysteries, I just saw a mystery that it's this brand new one that I was able to purchase because I got more money, but it might not actually have gone off the shelf because no one's heard of it. But now I can actually check it out to this person because they checked mystery on the reader's advisory chart or form or email or whatever that feedback connection point would be.
We don't have anything built like that. We have been sort of over the phone saying, yeah, if there's something you need, we can absolutely. But we haven't built anything. But I could build something like that to make that more official.
Yeah.
I have a few different thoughts. One way to connect that to some of this work is in that form, and I can't remember if you said that, Nick, is like asking about questions that help a middle schooler think about what they're interested in and connecting that way, not just who they like to read, but what their interests are, because that might connect to this a little bit. And then the other thing in terms of connecting to the materials, podcasts. I know Allison was saying podcasts, and I know that's not necessarily screens, that's audio, but thinking about a way to even get people in the community to help you maybe produce a podcast or a video or a radio. You know, I've been into radio for months now. Radio, something where you're connecting outside and you're still connecting to community. So it's not the library person who's saying, here are these great books we have. But what if you found people out there who can actually talk about what they love to read, how it helped them to become who they are, suggestions for other materials. So you're still connecting to the young people and to the community and making some potential relationships. Radio, all about the radio.
And for the most part, if they have a phone, they can do a recording. It does not require internet to make a recording. It does not require any really, that they could then, share with you or share with their friends or share with, if you found that platform. They don't have to go to the radio station, although it would be cool.
Right. Or if the radio, I've said this, if the radio has call-in, like you could have a call-in show where people talk about books and you get to talk about the new ones or whatever. Poor Austin. Yeah, this simple idea.
It's great though. I mean, this was something that was always like a problem for me to begin with before COVID, and now it actually kind of feels like the solution in terms of everything else we've been focusing on so much. We don't have to deal with, I mean, I don't necessarily have to focus so hard on the digital. I can look at the analog. I just have to push that a little bit more, so that it is really helpful.
Yeah, and actually it reminded me, I was talking to a group yesterday and they were talking about, the schools are giving out Chromebooks and laptops and all this stuff. So they were talking about how they could leverage those things they have. So like if the schools are if your schools are doing any of that, you could, again, make podcasts or audio that then the kids could listen to on their devices that they're getting from the school too. Allison, what do you mean?
I mean that one of the things that I either love about a podcast or hate is how people interact. And I think that would be interesting if you had either the call-in or you had two people having that conversation in a recorded, that relationship, and then the different polling of what they found interesting in the book or what they didn't, I think that's an interesting interaction for people to experience.
Very cool. Hi, Morgan. How's Rhode Island?
Hi. It's okay.
I don't know if you've been here a long time. I'm sorry. I just noticed you were.
No, I had a program from 4 to 4:30. Then I hopped on. So.
Right. Got it.
Sorry, I was late.
Yeah. So we were just talking about this question of, since I'm calling it September, so we've got 4 more months, and thinking about what people want to accomplish with middle school youth and/or community by the end of the year. So Nick or Pam, I don't know if you're back, Pam or Morgan, are there things you're thinking of that you want to accomplish by the end of the year?
I would like to just have some kind of program going for tweens, and I've tried a couple of different ideas. After one of our sessions, we talked about like just hosting a meeting place for tweens to come together, and I attempted to do that, and I had I think I told you guys about this. It didn't go well. I had one person come, and I knew that person had a sibling, and I made them go get the sibling, and so that was my 2 people that showed up. And so then we talked about doing something called scribble.io, which is basically Pictionary online, and nobody came to that. So I don't know. I would like to just have something for that age group. But what I'm seeing with all my other programs is that the attendance is dropping because of screen fatigue. And now we haven't started school here yet, but when we do start school, it's going to all be online. So everybody's going to be in front of the screen all day anyways, and then trying to convince them to now come sit in front of another screen for a library program. I guess I feel a little defeated before I've even started.
What ideally would the, like, is it, what's the purpose of the program? What's the, like, just to have something for them, or are you wanting to like accomplish something, or?
Well, I would like to provide a way for them to have social interaction. So that would be the primary goal there. And then hopefully we can tie it into something related to libraries, but I'm not super stressed about that because I think the most important thing, every time that I do have teen events, they are just so ecstatic to have a chance to talk to each other. And teen programming is going really well. It's the tweens that they just don't want to show up, which is fine too. But I would sure like to try to have something for them.
So are there things, going back to the connected learning, thinking about getting the tweens focused on what they want to do, because you've come up with great program ideas, but obviously, that's not necessarily it. So what are the things that they want to do that they build themselves, right? So they decide what they want to do and then they make it happen. I know that's easier said than done, but I think maybe that's part of it, is it's like you have great ideas, but they're not things that they're going to necessarily want to come to the library to do.
Right, but then like at the same time, I can't get them to tell me what they want to do if I can't talk to them. And that's kind of the issue that I've run into now. because in the past I would go to the middle school all the time and I'd be able to stop and talk to them and find out what interests they had. And now that avenue has been shut off and I can't convince them to come join me in a Zoom call. And so I don't know.
Are there any other places that tweens gather in your community? You know, boys and
Not
girls?
particularly. Yeah, I mean, I could go sit outside like the local convenience store, just wait for them to come buy junk food and then chat with them then. I think that might be my best bet for just running into them. I feel like a real downer now, guys. I'm sorry, that was not my goal.
No,
You're doing fine.
It's common.
Yeah, and it's partly that you need to have that relationship, right, which you were just talking about. So again, I'm thinking maybe instead of focusing on the tweens, you focus on families that have tweens, and ways to bring a family together in some sort of families together, and or looking at community organizations that can help you to connect to the tweens.
Yeah. I had great success building craft kits over the summer, so maybe I can try and find some that would engage with tweens more and then do something with that.
Nick, I wonder, could some of your tweens be volunteers that help you put those craft kits together? Because I know we've done this summer, not so much obviously because of stuff, but in previous summers, we've done volunteering across our libraries. So you would come to a volunteer orientation, you would be able to sign up for, okay, I'm going to help out at this event, or I'm going to sign up this event, or I'm going to sign up to be like a behind the scenes volunteer that's going to be helping with the craft prep or something like that. And while many of the students were like 9th graders, the majority of the students that wanted to do it were like 7th to 8th graders, like that. And that's still an older side, or like that's still the older side of tween. If tween's going to be like your 8 to 11-year-old or something like that. But even those students, they were like fighting us to like, but I want to volunteer. Like, but you're not old enough yet. And it does become that balance of, oh, well, am I just hand holding, or are they actually providing something that could help me? But sometimes you just need a million circles cut out, and a 10-year-old could totally cut a million circles out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I've had 10-year-olds cut out a million circles for me before. That dead expression, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to volunteer. And I'm like, here, cut 10 billion circles. I'm like, oh. Yeah. I like the idea of trying to get them involved. But again, we're not open. So it would have to be like, come pick up your stuff, prep your stuff at home, and then bring that stuff back to me to distribute to other people, which isn't insurmountable. It just seems like a lot of hoops to jump through at this point. And I've had poor luck in the past, not supervising volunteers and asking, like, let's say, hey, cut out all these circles. And then I get like 75% circles and then a whole bunch of ovals and a few squares. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what happened here, but that's okay.
So Nick, this may be a crazy idea, but could you, like, because you were saying give them the stuff to cut out and then bring it back, but could you have a cutout circle party via Zoom or something? So, right, go ahead. You were about to say something.
No, I'd had the same thought with the crafts, is like distribute the crafts and then like, let's say friendship bracelets. Like you could just do like a simple cardboard wheel with the little cutouts and you move the 3 things and then just make sure that everybody gets those. And then we have a Zoom meeting where we're all just sitting there chatting, doing the little friendship bracelets. That's something that I have thought of and I would like to do.
Yeah, I think that might be a great way to build the relationship. And you could get the older teens too to help you. Like they could be the conversationalists. You could be there too, but they could really like be the ones talking more with the tweens. I'd come to that. Can I make a friendship bracelet with you?
Yeah, we did it over the summer already. So I have a bunch of cardboard wheels ready to go.
That's awesome. Pam or Morgan? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Oh, okay. I think there might be one on the reservation at the tribal court on the side of the river.
Morgan, oh wait, I can't tell who's trying to talk. I just muted Pam because I think she was helping a customer as opposed to talking to us. Maybe I'm
I'll
wrong.
talk.
Talk, go Morgan.
It's interesting. We had our like bi-weekly meeting of Rhode Island Youth Services librarians on Monday, and the topic was the article that you and Mega wrote on Wake Up Libraries. And I liked, because kids out here, they work really young. They start working. And so the piece in it that you wrote about trying to give them some skills, you know, because they're working in restaurants, you know, just like trying to provide them some skills for things that they can do to still earn money, but not be like, you know, bussing tables. So that kind of resonated with me. And then, I mean, we're not open here at the library. I don't know when we will be open. We are open outside. People can come outside of the library and we will help them. I don't know when we will have people in the building, and I still don't know we won't know until the 31st what is happening with schools, whether they're going in person or not. And so things are still definitely up in the air, but earlier I had Rhode Island starting a year-long project with Project Ready. Like they're making some cohorts with Project Ready, and I thought, because I've been like doing like, I'm totally rambling, sorry.
That's all right.
But I thought that if I start that, because that will start in a few weeks, I might be able to tie that in to really truly reach all the middle schoolers, because you know, we have this large Latinx population here. And so if I continue work with that, I thought I could gain some more skills to better connect with all of them. I still need to, they're not really meeting me virtually right now. They're either working or they're at the beach, basically. But I'm hoping 1 September, it's been really crazy out here, and so like locals are staying home anyway. They're not venturing into town at all. But I'm hoping once like Labor Day hits and some of the places close down, the kids will stop working, and they're starting school in one fashion or another on the 14th. We just don't know what yet. But that I'll be able to, you know, connect with them more and once it's a little settled down. And so I've just got a lot in my head, I guess, that I'm trying to figure out what's best. But I really connected with the article that we discussed on Monday that you and Mega wrote. So
Thank you. We've had a little bit of hate mail from that article, so I appreciate the feedback. So that's really interesting, though, thinking about Project Ready. Can you tell everybody, I put the link in, but can you tell everybody a little bit what Project Ready is? Because I don't think we've talked about that in this group.
We only had like the informational session today. We have 10 days to decide if we want to join in Rhode Island. Danielle, who you all met in Memphis, she is running it. It goes along with equity, diversity, and inclusion. I have it written down over there. I'm sorry. I can't remember the exact what READY stands for. But it's like a year-long program, and we go through different modules, and we'll be in like groups of 12. And so they cover a lot of different topics. And the first part will give us like a foundation, but it ties into my like wanting to be able to reach that population, you know, like reach all the populations, I should say, because I don't feel like I do that yet. So as I conduct, like I'm doing a diversity audit in my collection, and so we're just making some changes systematically in our library here. And so I'm beginning to see some ways that I can connect it and pull it together to create something really meaningful and substantial that at least I hope so. I mean, every day is different here, but so I'm excited about that and just trying my best.
That's all anybody can do. I love that idea though. So if you say by the end of the year you want to just have a start at a better understanding of the diverse communities in your population, in your diverse communities on your island, that would seem like a great thing to do. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that as you learn more about your community, you learn more about what the needs really are. So that could be great.
Yeah. And we're thinking if they don't go back in person, we're going to have a lot of students, because of the internet issue here, we're going to have a lot of students using work areas in the library. And so I think they will be, because even if they do go in person, some people are opting out and going virtual anyway. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to connect to that way, and really be able to showcase the resources of the library. Because I'm imagining people in here that don't normally use the library, that don't have strong internet at home. So we'll see.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. We will check in with you to find out how it's going. We are actually out of time. There's a lot still to think about. I would love it, and I know we keep saying this, but on the community of practice, if we could continue to talk about what people want to accomplish and then just supporting each other in that would be great. Also, you need to spend $500. I can't tell you this enough. You need to spend $500 to go virtually, most likely, to a conference learning something by the end of the year. So I posted a few things, and then I think a couple of people added more. But really start thinking about that, and it's reimbursable. So I can't pay you up front, but sign up for something, send me the invoice and the receipt, and I will get you paid. But you each have $500. Please spend the money.
Can I say one thing before we leave?
Yes, you can.
Try to remember that we are not islands, and to not feel like you are being isolated on an island. The point of this project is to build something with your community and build something with partners. And I think that a lot of what we talked about today is how can we fix this? How can I fix this? I need to fix this. Just remember there are other community organizations that serve youth and other people, and just remember that yes, it sucks right now. We'll just be honest, it sucks. But there are other people out there. So just try not to remember you're not stuck on a deserted island by yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time to join and being still focused and invested in this. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to force people to be on the community of practice. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to force it. I don't know, there's no way. I have no power over you. But we will try. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your week and August, and we'll keep talking. Bye, everybody.